Greetings and salutations. What's going on? It is the 5th episode of The Clutch. Had a lot of fun doing this show. But let's get into it. A lot of sports news to talk about and whatnot. With Adam Vinatieri just retiring. The Celtics, what's going on with them. And we also got some Julio Jones Patriots news. And we have a lot to catch up with. But let's talk about the Boston Celtics and how they might be swept on Friday and on Sunday. So here's the thing. Game one, the Celtics were coming out hot. In the first quarter, they were up 32-20, and I thought everything was going just fine. And everything wasn't. Not until James Harden hit a couple of threes, KD was coming back, and then it was just like, what's going on with this Boston Celtics team? And I think with the absence of Jaylen Brown, the Celtics are not going to be doing well. But I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope. Because I hope on Friday night, when the Celtics come back home, they get some fiery, the fans are coming out back to 100% capacity, and everyone's shooting, everyone's having a great time, and we can make this a 2-1 series lead. But I think KD, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie, I think they're all going to come out firing. They really are. They're a better team than the Boston Celtics. And it's really sad to say this as a Boston fan because I really want to say that the Celtics can actually win this. I want to say this as a Boston fan, but I can't say this right now. I don't have a lot of heart with the Celtics team this year. If they had Jaylen Brown back this season and he wasn't out for the whole year, I'd say yes, the Celtics can make this a season. But no. They cannot make this a series at all. And it's really sad to say that. Kemba Walker needs to show a lot of leadership with Jaylen Brown down. Marcus Smart needs to play like he did in the third quarter of last night's game. Evan Fournier needs to step up. I'm glad that they're putting in Jabari Parker, some young talent, some young veterans in there to show, Jason Tatum what it's all about. And last night showed that the Celtics can't do it without Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum on the court. And that's really sad to say as a Celtics fan. Because you need one of those two on the court in order to win a game in Brooklyn against the Nets. Because if you don't have Jason Tatum or you don't have Jaylen Brown, the Celtics are in a big heap of trouble right now. And it is not looking good for them right now. Because if you lose Friday night, in Boston with full capacity, that's not good. That is not good. That's a loss of a season for the Celtics. If you get swept at home, that's really sad. It really is sad for a Celtics fan right now. It really is. I mean, the Celtics, they just don't have heart. That is why the Celtics need to improve and have some veteran assistance come next season, because I don't think the Celtics will win it. I don't see it happening. Not here, not tomorrow. I could possibly see them winning maybe on Friday. That's the only thing I can say about the Celtics, that they can only probably win on Friday. But I wish I could say that I have faith in the Celtics. I really wish I could say that. But I don't see them doing well in this year's playoffs. Because say if somehow the Celtics do come back and they beat the Brooklyn Nets, you're playing up against Milwaukee. Do you really think the Celtics can actually beat Giannis, Chris Middleton with a team with just Jason Tatum, Evan Fournier, and Kemba Walker? No, that cannot happen. That will not happen. And if the Celtics surprisingly beat the Nets, which I'll be very happy and very surprised with, they are getting their butts whooped by the Milwaukee Bucks, because Giannis, Chris Middleton, Holiday, Lopez is all better team than the Boston Celtics right now. The Boston Celtics, they need to have a way better bench than they do right now, because you ain't winning anything with Grant Williams, with Peyton Pritchard, with Jabari Parker. That's why in the offseason, the Celtics need to look for some veteran helps for bench or for starters. Because if you're the Celtics right now and you lose those next two games up against the Brooklyn Nets at home, you need to be looking for a lot of help come the next couple of games. Because if you ain't looking for help and the Celtics just stay with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're not looking good. They're not looking good. And I can see the Celtics maybe trading. I can see the Celtics not having Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart on the team by next season. Because I think the Celtics will try to acquire some, young and very veteran talent. I can see them trading for possibly Bradley Beal, maybe going after Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat. Maybe trying to, sign a Kawhi Leonard. I know it won't happen. I could see possibly Kawhi Leonard going to the Golden State Warriors, which he'll have a better opportunity to play there. But the Celtics need, a veteran help. They need, a Kawhi Leonard, maybe a Danny Green, Kyle Lowry kind of help, up in the post or, behind the three-point line. Because we need, a Kyle Korver, kind of like a surveillance help for the Boston Celtics right now. Because right now with this team, if you keep it the same for next season, you ain't going to win anything. You're going to look at 7th place again. We're going to have some sorry-ass losers, which will be really sad for the Celtics right now because I want the Celtics to win a championship. I know everyone out there does too because we're hungry. We're waiting for a championship to happen. Ever since Paul Pierce and KG got one, we haven't been doing well other than almost going into the finals against, LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers a couple of years from 4 or 5 years ago. And we used to have just Terry Rozier, Morris and the gang. But now that we don't have those and Kyrie's actually showing up, man, he's going to have a welcome acceptance to Boston on Friday night. I can't wait to see the boos, people saying, the F-bombs, and stuff like that. And, Kyrie said in a press conference yesterday about, the Boston Celtics being racist or whatever. But I don't think the Celtics are going to do that, not fan base wise. I mean, I can't see, Boston's not known for that right now. And, yes, we're going to throw some F-bombs and we're going to throw, the S word out there. We're going to throw a lot of crap out there for Kyrie because he deserves it. He really does. It's basically like an ex-best friend coming back and playing and coming back to your house. It really is because here's the thing. Kyrie Irving said in a season ticket holder meeting, not even a couple of years ago, that he said he would sign back with the Boston Celtics. And everyone was clapping. They was cheering. They was like, oh, we're going to get Kyrie Irving back come the next season and, following years upon us. But no, Kyrie Irving and that freaking Kevin Durant, a.k.a. the snake of the NBA, said that ain't happening. We go and sign the 2 max contracts, up in Brooklyn. And that's why Kyrie Irving is going to have the F-bombs thrown at him. Because, in the regular season, Kyrie Irving would make some injury problem and say, oh, I have a hurt thumb. Oh, my knee. He can't make it to Boston because he's afraid to show his butt because he knows that he's going to get booed there. And he's played there during the preseason, yes, when fans were allowed. But this is playoffs, baby. And the playoffs, they matter a lot. And boy, Kyrie Irving, once he steps on that floor and sees 100 capacity right back in Boston, he's going to get nervous. He's going to, feel some shivers here and there, but it's going to be amazing to see hundreds and thousands, or maybe 10,000, 20,000, however much is there up in Boston, booing the heck out of Kyrie Irving, that second snake in the NBA. He deserves it. And I really hope that turns off the Boston Celtics right there. And I really hope that Jason Tatum can play that game. Because we saw in the first quarter and second quarter was terrible. Being down 71-48 or 46 in the first half. We looking like the Miami Heat in game 2 against the Milwaukee Bucks. We ain't looking that good right now. We are looking absolutely terrible as a team right now. And to get one win in Boston, I say that's a win against the Brooklyn Nets, even though if we lose the next 2 games. Because that shows, because we are right now, I think we are 0-5 against the Brooklyn Nets plus postseason. I mean, here's the thing. You're going to have a lot of super teams in the NBA. You had it with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. And now there's a new 3-headed dragon in the East with Kevin, James, and with Kyrie Irving. the new scariest team in the NBA, and this team really scares me. Because here's the thing: say if the Brooklyn Nets do sweep us on Friday and on Sunday, which I wouldn't be surprised right now, they're going to be playing probably the Milwaukee Bucks, because I don't think the Miami Heat has a chance to come back and beat Milwaukee when they're playing in Miami. They don't have the capacity. Victor Oladipo, he's out for the whole year. It's going to be basically the Brooklyn Nets against the Milwaukee Bucks. And I will damn be cheering right for the Milwaukee Bucks to come and beat the Brooklyn Nets, because I think that's the best team that can actually beat Kevin Durant, James Harden, and the Brooklyn Nets right there in Brooklyn. I think it'll happen. The Celtics, they had a good run, winning 30-some-odd games. But this season, I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen. Because this team, yes, we acquired Evan Fournier. We got Luke Cornett, which I was, hyped up for. I thought he was going to be great. We signed Jabari Parker to a 2-year deal so we can see how he does with a full season with us next season. It's going to be really interesting to see, will Brad Stevens still be on the team come next season? Will Danny Ainge still become the GM? Could possibly some new pieces be getting moved for the Boston Celtics come next season? Because I think, like I just said earlier, I think Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, if you're willing to get some young and great talent, I can see them being out right there. I can see them being traded to Washington, maybe Miami, one of those two, because right now, at this point of hour, this is Jason Tatum's team. It seems like the Celtics really love him right now. It seems like he's the guy that's, being very reliable to this team. He's basically being like the LeBron James, almost trying to recruit some people. Like, if he can recruit some, great shooters and, Kawhi Leonard, maybe even a Danny Green. I would have loved to see Danny Green play in a Celtics uniform. He can shoot the three. He can rebound. He can play some good defense. Maybe even throw in Kyle Lowry, even though we have Kemba Walker, even though Kemba Walker hasn't shown, his hype up to the Boston Celtics right now. But it'll be very interesting to see, what Danny Ainge will do for the Boston Celtics in the offseason come next season. Will he actually, use the sign and trade and actually try to acquire some young or veteran talent? Or will he just sit back and say, we'll just, sign some, some veterans here and there or some no-namers that we really don't need. But I was really happy that we signed Tristan Thompson. I think he's been great, coming off the bench or starting for us. Well, he's been starting in the playoffs, but, when we had Daniel Tice, he was coming off the bench. I thought that was a good, veteran kind of move. And we also got Jeff Teague, which, I was like, he could actually be the guy coming off the bench for us, good leadership, good assistance, but he just wasn't the answer that the Celtics were looking for. We traded him away to the Orlando Magic, and now he's actually on the Milwaukee Bucks, as we talk about right now. But, it'll just be really interesting to see how, the Celtics can actually dive down and actually probably steal a game or maybe two from Brooklyn and Boston. It would show that the Celtics, are not giving up. Because if the Celtics do win on Friday, and if they can possibly pull out a win on Sunday against the Nets in Boston, I can definitely see this series going 7 games. I can see us losing in Brooklyn. I can see us winning in Boston to tying up the series, and then shocking everyone and winning in Game 7 against the Brooklyn Nets at their place. It would be kind of awesome to see if that can actually happen, but, we'll see what will go down and what will not go down. But we are going to hit the break. When we come back, Julio Jones, is he the right fit for the New England Patriots, or will he go and sign with another team? I'm Devin Telgani, and this is The Clutch.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is, when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
Yeah.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Welcome back to The Clutch. My name is Devin Telgani. Welcome all. So, as I talked about going into the break, we are going to talk about Julio Jones coming to the New England Patriots, and I love talking about this subject because here's the thing. It happened not even a couple of days ago on the Shannon Sharpe show. Shannon Sharpe actually called Julio Jones on live air, and he said, Julio, are you going to sign with the Cowboys, or are you going to stay in Atlanta? What's going to happen? And he goes, man, I'm out of Atlanta, man. And then Shannon Sharpe asked him, would you like to sign with the Cowboys? Because the Cowboys are a decent team and whatnot. And he goes, nah, man, I want to go to a winning team. And then Shannon Sharpe goes, well, I hope you're not signing with the Cowboys because they ain't a winning team. He goes, nah, man. But, that call was actually very interesting because I would have never known that, Shannon Sharpe would have, actually called Julio Jones up live on air and, had him actually discuss about, if he's actually going to, stay in Atlanta or actually, go elsewhere. But, Julio Jones, he's been on the Atlanta Falcons for about almost close to a decade, maybe 8 or 9 years. So I think it's time for Julio Jones to find something new. And, many people out there are going to be like, oh, he should sign with the Ravens. Oh, he should sign with the Titans. Oh, no. He's going to sign here. No. He's going to sign there. But I read a Bleacher Report, and Bleacher Report is an actual factual, site on Twitter. And, they said that Julio Jones has narrowed it down to 2 teams that he wants to get traded to. And I've actually dug deep down into Julio Jones's contract, and he doesn't have a no trade clause, which means that he can't decide which team he wants to choose to be on, but he can let the owner know what teams he's interested in, so that he can be happy with and that he can play with and that he can make a team a whole better team. Because here's the thing: whatever team Julio Jones signs with, he's going to make that team a scary team. No matter what happens. If he signs with the Patriots, if he goes with the Tennessee Titans, or if he signs, or if he gets traded to the Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buccaneers, but I can't see the Buccaneers going after, Julio Jones, because I don't think it's going to happen. Because one, they have too much talent. The Buccaneers have Brown, Gronkowski, Godwin, and Evans. They already have too much talent there. I mean, adding Julio Jones would be a big factor there, but it seems like you would have to release at least one of your wide receivers here and there, because you ain't keeping all 3 of those: Godwin, Brown, Evans, and Julio Jones. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are good. But here's the thing: I was kind of thinking about this before I came on, thinking that how would Tom Brady feel about the New England Patriots actually acquiring Julio Jones? Because if you actually sit back and you actually think about it, why Tom Brady has been asking for top 5 talent. He's been wanting, DeAndre Hopkins. He's been wanting to trade for Stephon Diggs. And, Bill wouldn't pull the trigger because actually, funny story about, acquiring Stephon Diggs. The Vikings were going choose between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, and the Vikings said, hey, we're going to give you Stephon Diggs. Who do you want to give for, Stephon Diggs? But, Bill didn't pull the trigger and he didn't say anything. So there you go. Stephon Diggs went on the Buffalo Bills and he actually did pretty damn well for the Buffalo Bills. But, now that you would have possibly Julio Jones coming to the Patriots by probably next Tuesday, next Wednesday, this team makes the Patriots a little bit more scary than you actually think. Because if you think about it, this will probably be the best offseason that the Patriots have been looking for in a long time. You've signed Kendrick Bourne. You've signed Nelson Aguilar. You signed Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. And now if you acquire Julio Jones, this team might be a Super Bowl team. If you have number 11 Julio Jones being acquired from the Atlanta Falcons, this team will get scarier. And as it says in the captions, this team could be a Super Bowl contender. Now, you guys are probably asking yourselves, well, who do you trade to the Atlanta Falcons? Well, you're going to have to definitely trade a first-round pick or maybe a second, and you're going to have to send a player over. Now, I'm thinking that, Sony Michel, he has been a fantastic player for the New England Patriots for times have come. He really has. He was great during the Super Bowl runs. He's doing great here and there. The past couple of weeks, if you ask me, Sony Michel hasn't been producing well for the New England Patriots. So if you're asking me, who do you send over? You would send over Sony Michel. And then you send over, I know he's in his, third, maybe fourth year of this contract. So I think you would have to send over N'Keal Harry too. So you send Sony Michel, N'Keal Harry, and a first-round draft pick to the Atlanta Falcons. Because here's the thing. If you're the Atlanta Falcons, you're looking for a first-round draft pick, and you're also looking to acquire some players. Now, the question is, would you give up Stephon Gilmore in that situation? That situation is a little bit of a pickle for me because I would say yes and no. I would say yes for one reason, because Richard Sherman is still out there for a cornerback for the Patriots. And I think if you acquired Julio Jones and you send him Stephon Gilmore, you would really have to hit that button and say, hey, Richard Sherman, we need a top 5 cornerback, and you'd be a great surveillance here in New England. And I think having him in a New England Patriots uniform, that number 25, that would suit him really well. Having Julio and Richard Sherman, that would be one of the best off seasons the Patriots could ever have, because that's the only cornerback on the line that would need to happen if the Patriots actually acquire Julio Jones and you send over Stephon Gilmore, maybe N'Keal Harry or whatnot. You would have to, think about, there's still a top cornerback out there that no one has touched. No one has even contacted him. I'm not even surprised that Seattle, his former team that he used to start his season with and his whole career with, hasn't even called him up yet. I think he would have been a great fit for Seattle. I thought, the San Francisco 49ers would be on his back saying, hey, yes, your injury woes have been sucking, but we need you back here. We would love to have you back and sign with the 49ers. Surprised that hasn't happened. Or the Seattle Seahawks. They should have been the first ones to call and say, boo, hey, boo, hello, we need a cornerback. And him would have been the correct answer. Being back in the Legion of Boom, without having Earl Thomas, no Cam Chancellor. Richard Sherman would have been the answer for the Seattle Seahawks. But if you're the Patriots in this scenario and you send over Stephon Gilmore, heck yeah, I would pick up the phone and be like, hey, Richard, we lost our, top cornerback to the Atlanta Falcons. We need you right now. And he'd be like, heck yeah, I'm signing there. Excuse me, no matter how many years it is, 1 or 2 years, I'd say call Richard Sherman up on the phone, be like, hey, bro, we need you here and we need you now. I bet you he'd be packing up his bag and saying, hey, bro, I'm going to New England. Because here's the thing. I think Richard Sherman would fit New England Patriots system great. Because you already have J.C. Jackson, Devin McCourty. You have the guy that we got from Jalen Mills. He's going to be a great, defensive back for us. Or, free safety for us. And I think acquiring Richard Sherman would be the thing for the Patriots to do. You know, the Patriots have had probably one of the best off seasons, and we ain't going to see this next season. God, we ain't going to see this. You know, we acquired, Kyle Van Noy. We're in the mix for Julio Jones. We got Matthew Judon, probably one of the best pass rushers from the Baltimore Ravens on our team right now. Our Legion of Boom, our, boogeyman is definitely back, and the Patriots want that Super Bowl. Because if I'm Bill Belichick right now, come June 1st, picking up that phone and saying, hey, we're going to give you, N'Keal Harry, we'll give you Sony Michel and a first-round draft pick. Because is Julio Jones deservable for a first-round draft pick and for N'Keal Harry and Sony Michel or Stephon Gilmore? Yeah. The Patriots need help for a number one wide receiver. Because you ain't going to put Nelson Aguilar for your number one situation. You're not. You're not going to put Kendrick Bourne out there for number one. So it's basically going to be, if we acquire Julio Jones will be our number one receiver. Number two will be Nelson Aguilar. Our slot will probably be Jacoby Myers. And then our fourth will definitely be Kendrick Bourne because he needs to get up there soon. And, we got him for, I think, three years. I mean, I think that was a big enough contract to offer him, but we need to see how well he plays with in order for, him to excel as a wide receiver. And Cam Newton, that's been the whole question of this whole offseason. Will Cam Newton strive well in a Patriots uniform for a second time in a row? Well, just like I've said many times on the show, definitely, he's on that comeback tour. He really is. He's been throwing with a quarterback coach with accuracy, so it's not looking like he's throwing balls in the dirt or balls to the ground, so he can actually know how to throw a screen pass or a pass that's 10 yards above the line of scrimmage, and he can throw some deep bombs just like, Tom Brady used to do when he used to play for us. But this season is going to be interesting, and I think the Patriots and Cam Newton are on that Shock the World tour right now. They really are. I think they could get probably 10, 11 wins. But if you sign Julio, I think you got a 13-win season right there. I think the Patriots could possibly go 13-4 or maybe 12-5. At least they'll have a better record than they did last season, which would be kind of huge because the Patriots are in need of a Super Bowl and in need to be shocking the world. They're on a tour right now. Once they signed, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, I knew the Patriots were, Bill Belichick was like, hey, we ain't kidding around. I'm spending my money and I need it right now. Robert Kraft's on it. Bill Belichick is, they got the weapons that they can actually beat Tom Brady in Foxborough. That game week 4 is going to be really interesting. I think we could win. I think we can pull out probably a 35-21 victory in Foxborough. I'm going to say we win. Most people are counting us out against Tom Brady, and he's beaten all the teams in the NFL except for those pesky New England Patriots because he's been playing on the Patriots for, 20 years now? I can't believe I'm saying that, but, yes, he's the GOAT. Can he actually beat us in Foxborough? Possibly. But if we do acquire a big wide receiver in Julio Jones, I think it makes the deal a whole lot interesting for the New England Patriots and for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be one, who's going to be the king of thrones? Will it be Cam Newton or could it be Mac Jones or will it be the GOAT? I'm going to rest my case. I'm going to say it's going to be Cam Newton. It'll be him. I think the Patriots are on the Shock the World tour right now. They're on a revenge tour, and Cam Newton's loving it, and so am I. We're going to hit the break right now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the slumping Boston Red Sox, and we'll talk about, a little bit about the Bruins too. I'm Devin Telgani, and this is The Clutch.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is, when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Welcome back to The Clutch. I'm Devin Telgani. Now let's talk about the Red Sox for a little bit. The Red Sox are sadly on a 2-game losing streak, which is kind of sad, and they're in second place, as we talk about, in the AL East, behind the Tampa Bay Rays, who are 30 wins and 20 losses, which is kind of amazing for Tampa Bay Rays. But the Red Sox, they need to wake up. I mean, I know it's early in the season right now, but, the Red Sox have surprised me. They really have. I wasn't expecting the Red Sox to be in first place or being close to 30 wins by this time of May 26th. But the Red Sox are a team to, also shock the world. Having the acquisitions of, Kiki Hernandez, Hunter Renfroe, Richards, this team is going to surprise everyone out there. The Red Sox, Rafi Devers is, getting hot finally. Chris Sale is going to come back, and he's going to come back healthy. Could he be throwing a no-hitter soon? Hopefully, because the Red Sox, they're due. Someone on the pitch step, whether it's Erod, Eovaldi, someone is due to throw a no-hitter for the Boston Red Sox. It's been happening for the Yankees, for the Padres, for the Tigers, here and there for the Cubs. But, these no-hitters are happening, and I love them. I know some people are like, oh, wow, these no-hitters, why are they happening? What's going on here? But these no-hitters are just, what's life in baseball. If you don't like the no-hitters in baseball, too bad, But here's the thing. With Madison Bumgarner, I do have a little bit of problem with, because, yeah, I understand that his no-hitter was in 7 innings, and technically 7 innings don't count for a full game, but I don't think Madison Bumgarner has ever thrown a no-hitter in his life until that night or day, whatever. I think Madison Bumgarner deserves to have that no-hitter. I know he's he's called the MLB about it. He's had, conversations of whatnot about them, but it's going to be really interesting, that I think, they should change the ruling calls on these doubleheaders, because I think baseball needs to go back to the way it was before all the pandemic started happening. I think, doubleheaders need to go back to 9-inning games. I don't mind 7-inning games, but, when a no-hitter or a complete game is happening, I want it to actually count for a no-hitter, hence the meaning no-hitter, because that's what needs to be happening here. It's just crazy how, in the MLB, it's 9 innings count as a full game, but, everything else should count. 7 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings or less. They should be changing the rulings on that and saying this, that, a no-hitter should be counted no matter how shortened or how long the inning is. If it's a 7-inning game in a doubleheader, it should count. Yes, it's a 9-inning game, but 7 innings or 8 innings. That's why baseball needs to go back to the way it was, with having 9-inning doubleheaders. Having the runner on second base not happening. Because here's the thing about that ruling. I don't mind it right now. Yeah, it quickens up the game, but don't we just love baseball when it goes like slow and we can just sit back in our chairs and just relax and watch everything happening, instead of just being like, oh, there's a runner on second, I wonder how he got there. They need to change the rulings back to the way it was before the pandemic happened, with having no runners on second base, with having I don't mind with the bullpen having to face 3 batters. I think that's great, but having the extra innings with the runner on second base, it just doesn't make baseball fun at all. It really doesn't. They should just go back to the way it was for baseballs and the rules. But going back to the Red Sox, the Red Sox right now are losing to the Atlanta Braves 4-3 as I'm talking right now. Devers just hit a 2-run shot. Renfroe is getting really, really hot. And, I think Morton's pitching for the Braves. And, here's the thing. Erod is not having a very hot start. I think he's like 2-4 right now, where he's not having a good record. But Erod's a pitcher that we, acquired from the Baltimore Orioles in a trade. And, I think that he's going to be a great pitcher come soon and soon. Yes, he's going to have his flaws, his ups and downs. Yes, he lost, I think on Sunday afternoon. He didn't have a really great outing. And he lost also in Toronto. But, I give Erod a couple months, a couple weeks, and then he's going to be back to the Erod that he was before, all of this happened, against the Blue Jays and against the Phillies, whatnot. But, this Red Sox team is impressive. I really like, Alex Cora. I'm glad he's back managing the Red Sox. I think that, all Boston fans are, loving him like they were before. Renicky was a terrible manager, and he wasn't managing the Red Sox the right way, like Alex Cora was managing the Red Sox. And, I think Alex Cora has been the answer that in managing that the Red Sox have been looking for. JD Martinez is finally getting hot, which is amazing. He's hitting about 10, 11 home runs right now. And the Red Sox are just becoming the Red Sox that we all loved and we hoped. Xander Bogaerts is a top shortstop for us. No one can stop the Red Sox right now. And here's the thing. I'm so glad by next Friday we get to play against the Bombers, the New York Yankees. It's been so weird not talking about the Red Sox and Yankees rivalry. It's usually, by mid-April, beginning of May, we would have been starting to talk about, the Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Gio Urshela, and the New York Yankees right now. But no, we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about, it's weird having to play the New York Yankees in the beginning of June. Like, I want to play them in May, and like maybe in the opening season, come first pitch. I wanted to play them then, not start talking about them in June. Like, this team, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. The rivalry will be back. I mean, yes, the Padres and the Dodgers are starting to become like a very hot rivalry in baseball, but I really think that, once the Red Sox and Yankees series starts to heat up and, either we start winning the series or, the Yankees start getting hot and whatnot, I just really want, the Red Sox rivalry to be back, with fans and them going crazy, throwing pitches at their heads and, starting to fight, having the whole A-Rod and a Royal thing going on. Like, I want that fiery passion in the Red Sox right now, because that's what needs to happen for them to, like, spark up their season right now. To, like, hit someone in the head, like, have some fights here and there, left and right, get the jaws going, get the, momentum pushing right now for the Red Sox. And they just need that little locomotive, and I think that they can do it. They have the team to do it this year. I love Hunter Renfroe in a Red Sox uniform. He's been striving well. His arm is amazing in the outfield. Kiki Hernandez, the acquisition of him has been really, really good. Him and, Cora have been really great friends. That's how they knew each other. That's how they connected well in the, for Red Sox Nation, and which is amazing. I think this team could possibly make a good run for maybe the wild card, or possibly make, win the AL East. And I'm dead serious. I've never said this about a Red Sox team in my life until this night. I think the Red Sox have the team. They have the pitching. They have Erod, Evaldi. They're going to have Chris Sale back. Boy, once they got Chris Sale and the firiness of him back on the team, the Red Sox are going to be the Red Sox we've all loved and we wanted. And possibly they could win a World Series this year. I can see it. JD Martinez, Alex Verdugo. This team has a lot of talent. They have the right preparedness in the team right now. They have the ingredients that they need in order to win a World Series, a playoff. And, no, they don't have 60 games, which is great. They have 162 games, which is amazing. Yeah, last season, it was a joke of a season for the Red Sox. JD Martinez was slumping. The pitching was terrible. But, this pitching rotation and the relievers that the Red Sox have, wow. I wish we had them last season. Acquiring, Ottavino, getting Whitlock, Swarmanson. Matt Barnes, I can't believe I'm saying this. Matt Barnes is a great closer for the Boston Red Sox right now as we talk. I can't believe I'm saying this. Matt Barnes, he's actually pitching well. I think he has like 12 to 11 saves for the Boston Red Sox right now. That's great. That's amazing to hear. But right now we're going to take our last break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about, the Boston Bruins and who I think the Bruins should play in the next round. My name is Devin Delgani, and this is The Clutch.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Previsol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is, when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion, or you think a concussion has occurred.
Yeah.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Hello and salutations. Welcome back. So the Boston Bruins are playing amazing. They just got their first round exits and beating the Washington Capitals 4-1 in a great series. They lost the first game. They came back and won the second game, then won the third in overtime. They won the fourth in overtime. No, they won the second in overtime. They won the third in overtime. Then and then won the fourth one. And look at that. The Boston Bruins beat the Washington Capitals and are advancing on to the second round. This team can win the playoffs. This team is a better team than the Boston Celtics. They have heart. They have great talent. Taylor Hall, you need to sign your butt back here in Boston because, boy, you can score. You're like the Kyrie Irving that we've been wanting on skates. He really has. He can do the dinks and the dunks, behind the backs. He's like the Wayne Gretzky that we've been waiting for. He's going to be an amazing player for the Boston Bruins. And I think the Boston Bruins are better off facing in the second round. I think the New York Islanders, I think we have a better chance to face them. Yeah, we haven't had, the best record up against the New York Islanders right here and right now. But I think it will be a good competition. I think we could take the Islanders in 7 games. And who we play after that, I don't know. You'll have to talk to me, a couple weeks after the Bruins play either the Islanders or the Penguins, because those two teams are really tough and they ain't going to be easy to beat. I thought, in all seriousness, I really thought the Capitals were the better team than us. I thought Chara, Ovechkin, I thought, they were going to come in here and they were going to win and win probably 4-2. But heck, I was wrong. And boy, do I love being wrong. I'm not that big of a hockey guy, but come playoff time, I love watching the game. It gets intense, the fights, everything, the hoo-has and the whatnots. The Boston Bruins, I think, have the team to win the Stanley Cup. And they need to put Rask in net for the remainder of the playoff series. He's a guy that you're looking for. He's a guy that can win. He's a guy that's looking for revenge after last season about not, playing in the playoffs for family reasons, which is okay, which I understand. Family comes first. But Tuukka Rask can actually win you a Stanley Cup. I think the Bruins have it. The Bruins have it in him right now. And, I think the Islanders end their series by the end of next week. So we'll see who their opponent is come next week. Could it be the Islanders or could it be the Sidney Crosby and the Crybaby Penguins? Any series is going to be good, Penguins or Islanders, but I'm rooting for the Islanders to play against the Bruins. And boy, I can't wait to see who we face off next because whoever we play, I think we're going 7 or 6. I really can see that happening. But guys, I appreciate all you guys for watching episode 5 of The Clutch. My name is Devin Telgani, and you'll see this lovely and amazing face next Wednesday, same time, same place. Let's go Celtics, let's go Bruins, and especially let's see if Julio Jones will be on the New England Patriots when I'm on by next week. And let's go Boston Red Sox. Have a good week, everyone.